You're really innocent. You don't even know what's happening around you. You walk through your days believing that everything is exactly what it seems, believing that every smile means what it shows, every silence means nothing, and every goodbye is just another word spoken in passing. You don't realize how many things are hidden from you, how many emotions are left unspoken, how many hearts carry stories they never had the courage to tell. And maybe that's what makes you so special. You see the world with a softness that most people lost a long time ago. You still believe in the goodness of people. You still try to understand before you judge. You still offer kindness without asking for anything in return. You still give pieces of your heart away without counting the cost. You don't know how rare that is anymore. The truth is, there are things happening behind the scenes that you know nothing about. There are thoughts being thought because of you. There are feelings being felt because of you. There are moments where your name appears in someone's mind for no reason at all, and they can't explain why. There are nights when someone remembers your laugh and smiles without realizing it. There are mornings when someone wakes up with you as their first thought, and you have no idea. You're really innocent. You don't even know what's happening, because the truth hurts, and I'm afraid it might hurt you too. Not because you've done anything wrong. Not because you've caused pain intentionally. But because sometimes the truth carries a weight that changes everything once it's revealed. Sometimes the truth takes a simple moment and turns it into something unforgettable. Sometimes the truth forces us to see things we've been avoiding for far too long. You think you're ordinary. That's the first thing you're wrong about. You think you're just another person trying to get through life. You think your presence doesn't matter that much. You think people forget about you the moment you leave the room. You think your words disappear after they're spoken, but they don't. Some people remember every little thing you say. Some people replay conversations with you long after they've ended. Some people hold on to your kindness because it arrived during the darkest chapter of their lives. Some people keep memories of you hidden inside their hearts like treasures they never want to lose. You don't know that. You never did. And maybe that's because you were never looking for attention. Maybe that's because you never realized your own value. Maybe that's because your heart is so focused on making sure everyone else is okay that you forgot to see how much you mean to others. But meaning something to someone doesn't always come with an announcement. Sometimes it happens quietly. Sometimes it grows in silence. Sometimes it becomes so deep that words can no longer describe it. That's when things become complicated. That's when emotions become difficult. That's when someone falls in love without planning to. You don't know how often that happens. You don't know how dangerous your kindness can be. You don't know how your smile can stay in someone's thoughts for days. You don't know how your voice can calm storms inside people who are fighting battles they never talk about. You don't know. Because you've always been yourself. To you, it's normal. To everyone else, it's unforgettable. The truth is that while you're busy living your life, someone is carrying feelings they never expected to have. Someone is fighting emotions they never wanted to admit. Someone is trying to convince themselves that what they feel isn't real, even though every day proves otherwise, and the reason they're struggling is because they know something you don't. They know how deeply you've affected them. They know how much you matter. They know that no matter how hard they try, they can't stop caring. But they're afraid of what happens if they tell you, afraid of what happens if they don't, afraid that the truth might ruin everything. Afraid that silence might ruin even more, so they stay quiet, and you continue being innocent. You continue moving forward without seeing the storm hidden behind the calm. You continue believing that everything is simple. Meanwhile, someone's heart is becoming more complicated with every passing day. Maybe you've noticed little signs. Maybe you've caught certain looks and ignored them. Maybe you've heard certain words and thought nothing of them. Maybe you've felt a strange energy around someone and couldn't explain it. Those moments weren't accidents. Not everything is as random as it seems. Some connections are deeper than logic. Some feelings are stronger than reason. Some people enter our lives for a purpose we don't understand until much later. And sometimes the person who means the most is the person who never planned to mean anything at all. That's the part nobody talks about. Love doesn't always arrive dramatically. It doesn't always announce itself. It doesn't always come with perfect timing. Sometimes it sneaks in through ordinary moments. A simple conversation, a shared laugh, a random memory. A small act of kindness. Before anyone realizes what's happening, something beautiful begins growing, and once it grows, it becomes impossible to ignore. That's why the truth hurts, because once the truth is known, nothing can go back to the way it was before. You can pretend not to know, you can avoid talking about it. You can distract yourself, but deep truths have a strange way of finding the surface eventually. They wait patiently, they grow stronger, they become impossible to hide, and eventually, someone has to face them. Maybe that's what is happening now. Maybe this message found you because there are things you need to understand. Maybe you need to realize that you're more important than you think. Maybe you need to realize that your existence creates ripples far beyond what you can see. Maybe you need to realize that someone cares more than they've ever admitted. Maybe you need to realize that your heart deserves to know what other hearts have been carrying. Or maybe you simply need to hear something you've forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not forgettable. You are not ordinary. You are not as alone as you sometimes feel. There are people whose lives became brighter because you entered them. There are people who found strength because of your words. There are people who smiled because of your presence. There are people who silently thank the universe for bringing you into their path. And one of those people may be carrying feelings deeper than friendship, feelings deeper than admiration, feelings they never expected, feelings they can't erase. That's the truth. And the truth hurts because it demands honesty, it demands courage, it demands vulnerability, it demands that we stop pretending. Maybe that's why you're still innocent. Maybe life has protected you from seeing everything. Maybe your heart wasn't ready. Maybe someone else's heart wasn't ready either. But time changes things. Feelings grow. Truth becomes harder to hide. And eventually, even the strongest walls begin to crack. When that day comes, I hope you remember this. I hope you remember that love often grows in silence before it speaks. I hope you remember that someone's distance doesn't always mean they don't care. I hope you remember that some people stay quiet because their emotions are too deep. For easy words, most importantly, I hope you remember that your value has never depended on whether you could see it. You were valuable before anyone told you. You were special before anyone noticed. You were worthy before anyone loved you. And if someone has fallen in love with you, it isn't because you changed who you are. It's because who you are was already enough, more than enough, far more than enough. So if you ever discover the truth, don't be afraid of it, don't run from it, don't let it convince you that you've done something wrong. The truth may hurt, but sometimes it hurts because it's powerful. Sometimes it hurts because it reveals how deeply two souls have been connected without fully understanding it. Sometimes it hurts because it exposes emotions that have been hidden for too long, and sometimes it hurts because it reminds us that we matter more than we ever believed. You're really innocent, you don't even know what's happening, but one day you will. And when that day comes, you'll finally understand why certain silences felt different, why certain moments lingered longer than they should have, why certain eyes seemed to hold entire stories they never spoke aloud. You'll understand that while you were simply being yourself, someone was quietly falling in love with every part of who you are. And that is a truth powerful enough to change everything.